You have to ask, athletes, movie stars getting involved in politics, I mean, seriously, do we care what their attitudes are to most issues? Now, the Australian newspaper broke a story this morning that cricketer Usman Khawaja, fantastic sportsman that he is, he was going to daub his cricket boots with messages in support of Palestine. Now, late today, it appears that he's been forced to abandon those plans to wear those boots of showing support for Palestine in the first test against Pakistan, which starts in Perth tomorrow. The shoes, and we've shown you the images of them there, have slogans, freedom is a human right and all lives are equal in the colours of the Palestinian flag. Now, Usman is the first Muslim to play Test cricket for Australia. Now, Cricket Australia apparently have told him he's not allowed to wear the shoes, and the International Cricket Commission, the ICC, have also said that that's not able to be done. Usman has spoken out about the decision. Here's what he's had to say on social media.
The ICC have told me that I can't wear my shoes on field because they believe it's a political statement under their guidelines. I don't believe it is so. It's a humanitarian appeal. I will respect their view and decision, but I will fight it and seek to gain approval.
Well, that's his explanation. Joining me now is Sky News contributor Evelyn Ray and Alexander Voltz, contributor to skynews.com.au and writer for The Spectator. Now, Evelyn, we saw the explanation there. That's the first time I've seen that. Apparently, Pat Cummins, the captain, he also had a word about this today. Let's have a listen to what the captain said.
I think it's one of our strongest points, our team, is that everyone has their own passionate views and individual thoughts, and chatted to Uzi briefly about it today, and I don't think his intention is to make too big of a fuss, but we support him.
Do you expect him to wear the shoes out there tomorrow?
I spoke to him just quickly. He said he won't be. He won't be, but Uzi doesn't want to make too big of a fuss. I think his shoes, he had all lives are equal. I think that's not very divisive. I don't think anyone can really have too many complaints about that.
Evelyn, I think the right decision has been made, but why does sports people feel the need to impose their personal views on the contest? It's fine if you do it on the weekend or on a day off, or you can go and march wherever you like, but surely not on the cricket pitch itself.
You would think so, but they like to ruin all good things. I think most people go to watch sport to escape from the politics, to escape from the divisiveness, but you can't escape it in this country. And you know what? We are a multicultural society. That is what Australia is. So that doesn't mean that you just get a range of exotic meals, that you get spices imported. What that means is that you're going to have lots of different people with different backgrounds, with different religions, and some of those things is what fuels international war. And that's what we're seeing play out now. So it shouldn't really be a surprise that in Australia you're going to have people from varying backgrounds, from varying religions that are going to align one way or another. But you know what? I think we have to point out the striking hypocrisy here, because I think it was only last year or the year before that the Australian cricket team got calluses on their knees from bowing down to the Black Lives Matter. So this whole thing about them not wanting to be divisive, not wanting to do politics and make statements, I think is a complete sham, because clearly they do take a stance when it comes to some sort of political ideologies. The difference with this one is that the political stance that this particular cricketer is taking is not one that they deem an acceptable one, and I think that we should at least call out the hypocrisy.
Alexander, it's also a national team that had a problem with a major sponsor, which turned out to be a mining company. So they've got a bit of a record, haven't they?
Well, that's the first I'm hearing of it, Steve, but I'm sure that they probably do. Look, thank goodness they're cricketers and not geopoliticians. That's all I'll say. And, you know, when is it going to be the point where the Australian people stand up and, stop buying tickets to sports? I mean, it's a hard thing, isn't it? In this country, we love our sport, and we wonder when our sports players will stop subjecting us to politics. But maybe that actually requires some discipline for us to temporarily give up what we love and say enough is enough. I really do think that this commercialism, this is really driving the public debate. And if we don't, stop buying tickets to these sporting events, I just don't really know how else they're going to get the message. The Australian Open is coming up, Steve, and they're charging a discounted ticket rate for Indigenous Australians. Everyone else, just because of the colour of their skin, has to pay more. And if you're not okay with that, maybe you just don't go to the Australian Open this year.
Evelyn, talking about Australian tradition, Surf Lifesaving Australia, I mean, there could be no more Aussie thing than Surf Lifesavers at the beach. Well, apparently the woke police have now got their sights on lifesavers. They put out new draft guidelines which instruct members to, quote, retrain your brain to avoid calling people by their biological gender. What are these people on about?
Look, we definitely need to retrain our brain, but we need to retrain our brain to not think like they're people who are writing whatever these surf lifesavers are supposed to be doing. Imagine at that crucial moment of thinking to ensure a person isn't going to die, you have to be distracted with the thoughts of, am I going to lose my job over this? Am I going to get into trouble for something that I say? And a few seconds can mean the difference between life and death. As a former frontline worker myself, I can say this with absolute certainty that it can be moments that can ensure a person lives or a person dies. What we are talking about here is ridiculously dangerous. The entire thing should be mocked. I'm going to bring back public mocking. We shouldn't tolerate it. We shouldn't even accommodate ideas that could cause the loss of lives. This is enough is enough.
Alexander, the other thing about this, of course, is that many of the lifesavers that patrol our beaches, and famously, of course, our ex-Prime Minister Tony Abbott, they're volunteers. I mean, do you really want to give up your weekend and volunteer to patrol a dangerous beach wearing a lifesaving uniform and then be lectured about where you can go to the bathroom and who you can call he and she? I mean, seriously.
Well, I think that's right, Steve. You know, you've sort of got to wonder what David Hasselhoff would think of all this. Maybe David Hasselhoff is a sign of toxic masculinity these days. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I think Evelyn's onto something here. There's going to be a circumstance where a lifesaver, or indeed just a medical professional, is going to need to know the biological gender of a person. They're going to need to have that data available to them. And it could be life-threatening if they don't get it. So the whole thing should be mocked. I think that's right. There are biological realities. A man is a man and a woman is a woman. When I see a man give birth, maybe I'll reconsider my opinion.
We're all in furious agreement. Evelyn Ray, Alexander Voltz, thank you very much for your time tonight.